Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of your time and spending it here with us on NACTV. I'm Eoin Devereux with the Banner and Press, welcoming you to the Halloween edition of the program and the Halloween edition of the newspaper. I'm joined this week by fellow journalist Casper Wehrhahn. Casper, good to have you here this week and happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween to you as well. And of course, all the viewers, it's good to be here again on another edition of the show. And I have to say, it feels weird to say that it's Halloween already, and also that we have our Remembrance Day section next week, and that I'm already working on November chases. I don't know how to feel about that, Owen.
God, it is just flying. The entire year of 2025 is just flying by. And we record this, of course, on Halloween, and it'll be presented on Halloween and days afterwards. If you're wondering where our costumes are, I'm dressed up as an old guy whose knees are starting to give out on him. You know, it's not a very original costume, but I seem to be getting better and better at it every single year. Well, let me ask you this, Casper, before we get into this. When's the last time, as a youngster, yes, now that you're a KG veteran, I guess, but when you were a youngster, what is sort of the last costume, or what is the most memorable costume you remember wearing for the festive season of Halloween?
Oh, shoot. That is a very good question. I actually don't remember.
Oh, I put him on the spot.
Yeah. But I think one year, I don't remember if it was me, but at least one of my siblings was Buzz Lightyear one year when we were like really little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have photos of that somewhere. It's pretty cute, not gonna lie.
Well, I was a child of the 80s, so we'd always get those sort of costumes where your character was actually a picture of your character on the bodysuit, and the little plastic, I'm Iron Man. Can't you tell I'm Iron Man? I have a picture of Iron Man on my costume. That makes me Iron Man. But in terms of my favorite, and in terms of the one I remember the most, maybe because this is the last one, it was a friend of mine, one of my oldest friends in the world. His engagement party with his fiancée came in around October. So they decided to do a one of those socials, wedding socials / Halloween party. So I found this amazingly incredible and timely costume. I dressed up as me in 1991. Now you got to keep in mind, this was about 2010, 2011, and I was a high schooler in the early 90s, so I was able to find a mullet wig, a really nice mullet wig, some tie-dye, chip and pepper, for all you Manitobans out there, who are from my age, you know what I'm talking about. Chip and pepper t-shirts, neon, tie-dyed, some Zubza pants. And again, if you're my age, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. And a day-glow winter jacket, which was all the style back in the day. You had to walk into a completely dark room and light it up with your own jacket. That's how bright these things needed to be. And I think it was the most memorable costume I ever had, because again, I had if you remember Billy Ray Cyrus, back when he broke out, I had the Billy Ray Cyrus mullet before Billy Ray Cyrus. That guy owes me money, quite honestly, for giving him his fashion sense. And thank God the internet wasn't a thing back in my day, because if it was, I couldn't show my face anywhere in the world, quite honestly, because it was a sight.
I mean, one of these days, maybe it'll come back, right?
Exactly. That's the worst part of it as well. My day-to-day clothes of my generation are now Halloween costumes. It happened to me, and it'll happen to you too.
Aren't I going to be the scariest outfit for Halloween ever? Look at me.
It'll be the coolest costume at Spirit of Halloween in the year 2045. I guarantee it. But, okay, with enough of the Halloween foolishness, let's get into the meat and potatoes of our program here. Each and every week we give you a review, an overview of the Neepawa Banner and Press, and some of the aspects of putting the paper together. This week's edition starts off with something on the front page. Very glad to be able to share this story with you, because I learned the background about it, and I'd seen the background over the last couple of years, and where it had turned around as a program. I'm referring to the Neepawa Collegiate Tigers football program. They recently played in the Murray Black Cup, the championship, against Transcona, and they defeated Transcona 27-20 to win the championship. That has special meaning for these people, the players, the coaches, the families involved, because it's been a 2-year turnaround. Coming into this season, they had not won a single solitary game in 2 years. Program was still very supported, but it was in a rough stage. It needed to be turned around. So a lot of the adults, the coaches and all that, got together, figured out what needed to happen, and they were able to turn things around. They were able to get some inspiration going. They were able to get some people in there that had a passion for the game and wanted to be a part of it, and to sort of share that passion with the players. And they did that. The players bought in, they got involved, they committed every single game during the regular season. They went 5-1 on the schedule. Into the playoffs, they went a perfect 2-0, and they put in a tremendous effort in the championship against Transcona. Hopefully, if you get a chance, maybe you'll see it right here on NAC TV. If not, a little plug out here, because I do want you to see it. And maybe not everybody has this channel, but Westman Communications Group was out recording that game as well. So check your local listings. If you can find it here on NAC TV, fantastic. But maybe you can find it on Westman Communications Group as well. But I hope you do. And for those of you that were out there for this game last Sunday, it was a huge crowd. It was an immense crowd. The biggest crowd I had seen down there at Neepawa Collegiate Field in years. I was very happy to see that type of commitment and support for a program. I know we talk a lot about hockey because, obviously that's a big part of Canada, and that's a big part of Neepawa, whether it's the Titans, the Senior A team with the Farmers, or the Tigers high school team, or any of the minor hockeys. That's understandable. And sometimes these other sports maybe slip through the cracks. We don't want them to, but that's the reality of it from time to time. So to be able to see what this ragtag bunch was able to do with this football program and turn it around like they did, it was very inspiring. At least I think it was. So I hope it, to some degree, inspires you as well. I had a chance to go down there, watch the game, talk to the coaching staff about what it meant for them and what it meant for the players to see this complete and utter 180 this season from where they were to where they are now. And they really do deserve it, I thought. So congratulations to them. And I'm very glad to sort of see that they came together like they did and represented Neepawa as well as they did. So that's about it for me, unless there's anything you wanted to sort of chime in there. I know you're not a huge sports person, Casper, but you are a huge Neepawa person, so I want to hear your 2 cents.
No, I think you said it very well. I mean, it's just great to... It's always great to have a Neepawa win, of course, but especially after, a few years of not quite getting to where they wanted to be. I wouldn't be surprised if they're feeling some vindication now after all of their hard work and effort put in throughout the season, and coming out on top with a win like this. I mean, that's pretty extra special, I think. And obviously, as Owen said, congratulations to the entire team.
If you want to learn a little bit more, you can find that, of course, on page 1. It does carry over onto the sports page of this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. So hopefully you'll be able to sort of, even if you're not a sports person per se, hopefully you just take a few minutes just to educate yourself on the program and what it means to these young men and the people involved, the parents, the coaches, everybody that was involved. So once again, congratulations. All right, let's shift inside the pages of the paper into page 2. And Casper, you were in attendance for a meeting, an educational seminar, as it were, in which there was some real nice back and forth in regards to the future of parks in Canada.
Indeed, yeah. So this was specifically for Riding Mountain National Park, and it was hosted, of course, by Parks Canada. This particular meeting that I went to was just one of a few different meetings that they were having in and around the area in regards to RMNP. This meeting for Nipawin was on October 23rd in the evening. And as Eoin said, there was some really good back and forth, by my estimation anyway, just from my observations there. What this was essentially Parks Canada coming out and being like, okay, here's all the background on what exactly this is about, which the main topic of the evening was in regards to making a new management plan, but also to introduce to people the new superintendent for Riding Mountain National Park, because they've had a new one instated since I think it was September sometime. He's been in office there for about 6 weeks now, so just introducing him and him and some other staff being on hand to answer some questions and of course get feedback on ideas and items, topics related to the park that are important to people, and using that in the future to inform the management plan, which has to do, of course, with everything related to the park, from like the water, use of the water, recreational stuff that happens there, and like so much more. I go into that in the article. It's all outlined there. And this is a very big topic because it's related to something that we've covered in the past, of course, as well. There was sort of a lot of contention, I guess you could say, surrounding Riding Mountain National Park, particularly within the past two-ish years, 2 or more.
You're right about that, Casper. I was very interested because, as we've covered in several editions of the Banner of Press, Riding Mountain National Park they've taken it to a degree on the chin, as it were, especially with the decisions with the zebra mussels in the lake. They're not allowed to have motorized watercraft out there, and just there's a lot of sort of frustration and anger out there. So these types of meetings that you were able to attend, did you think that was a good idea to sort of try and mend the fences, as it were? Or do you think they did?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, one of the big issues that has been causing tensions, and this was something that the new superintendent, Tom Sheldon, actually straight up acknowledged at the meeting, which I think at least I appreciated, even though I'm not really a person that goes to Riding Mountain National Park all that often. I've been there maybe like once or twice, but hopefully everyone else appreciated this as well. But he acknowledged that communication has not been the best, and that relationships have been strained between Parks Canada and all the people that use the park for many different reasons. And so hopefully this is a good first step in rebuilding those relationships, and hopefully we'll see continued and improved communication going forward. Because if you're not familiar, one of the big things that happened is that sometime after 2023, that's, I believe, when they discovered zebra mussels in the lake. There was, of course, the decision to restrict boats and other water vehicles on the lake to try and prevent the spread of zebra mussels and try and keep numbers down and all that. And later on, there was going to be at least a partial lift on that. They were going to instate a one boat, one lake policy, which would mean, yeah, you can use your boat here, but you can only use it here, don't use it anywhere else. And that was going to be put in May sometime, maybe 2020. No, I think it was actually going to be this year, wasn't it? Yeah, this year.
Yep.
And it was getting closer and closer to the date, and that lift never happened. It actually got reversed, and businesses and all of that had been planning to be open for accepting people who want to use their services related to watercraft, and of course tourists wanted to go out and use their watercraft. Yep. And so there was a lot of frustration regarding that. So it's kind of twofold. Of course, there's the communication part, but then there's also the issue of zebra mussels and trying to deal with those, and being transparent on how they're being dealt with or trying to be dealt with. and other items as well. So hopefully this will sort of help tackle things, of course, and of course all the other things related to the park and being more open on that, but also the creation of the new management plan. It turns out they're actually overdue, Owen, for putting in a new management plan. These are supposed to be done every 10 years. The last one, if I can find it here, it was done in... Oh, maybe I can't find it. Oh, no, here it is. Okay, so the last plan was put in place in 2007, and it was updated in 2012. So we're a few years out.
Yes, most definitely. Sometimes you're due and sometimes you're overdue. And that sounds very much overdue.
Indeed, yeah. And, this is something that has to go to Parliament and get approved and all that. So.
Oh, geez, now we're getting those guys involved. Oh, now it's going to be it's going to be a real cluster now.
Yeah, it's part of the process. Every single time it has to go to Parliament. But it's just in the early stages right now, like very early stages. This is like part 2 of like 5 or 6, I think. I don't have the graphic on there, but it's fully outlined in the story there, like what sort of process it has to go through. And of course, they have the information on their website as well. But, if you weren't able to go to these meetings as well, it's really important for everybody who, the park is important to, whether you're a business owner or you go there for tourism, etc. You can give feedback on this as well still from a online survey that they have on their website. And that's open until November 21st. So make sure that you give some feedback on there. Again, this informs everything for the management of the park. It literally just covers everything from ecosystems to whatever you can imagine, really. So very important to chip in.
And it was very good to see that amount of participation in Neepawa for this Riding Mountain National Park sort of consultation. You might think 16 people there isn't a big number, but considering the distance between us to the park, that is a very good number. And obviously, a little closer you are, the numbers are a little bit bigger, a little bit larger. They had many of these meetings in communities throughout Western Manitoba. So that was very important to be able to have your say, as Casper said. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can find it on page 2 of this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. We're going to shift into the paper just a little bit more, a few more pages down the way. We're going to talk about another meeting which I was actually able to attend recently, a little closer to home, right here at the Yellowhead Center. The Yellowhead Rec Center Committee, the volunteer board that operates that facility, had their annual general meeting, and they shared a lot of information on there. They shared some of the highs and lows of the year that was, some of the challenges they've dealt with, and how they've been able to go through them. They announced their budget for this year. Got to take off the glasses here so I can read a bit. I'm a little nearsighted here, so I need these to see that, but I don't need these to see this. So the revenue was very good for them this year. The revenue was up almost entirely across the board in terms of $552,389. That was up about 40, I think, roughly in around 40 or so, or 30 compared to last year. Unfortunately, so were expenses. And the 2 biggest expenses were insurance went up almost $10,000 year over year. That's to be expected. When a facility is 50 years old and older, it's going to get a little pricier when it comes to the insurance. It's also going to get a little pricier when it comes to maintenance and upkeep and upgrades and repairs. And that was the other huge one. A lot of the money went into that, $145,999 this year alone went into maintenance and repairs for the Yellowhead Center. The facility is 53 years old. That's to be expected. It's a little frustrating, and I'm going to chime in a little bit of opinion here. I'm not speaking on behalf of the board. This is just my opinion. It must feel very frustrating for them because everything they did when it came to revenue, for the most part, they did right. everything was up slightly across the board. A little higher in some categories, a little lower in others, but everything went up. So it's got to be frustrating to see that negative, that loss at the end of the year. When you do everything right and you still lose, it's frustrated, and you have a right to be frustrated. You very much have a right to be frustrated about that. So I do hope we as a community continue to support the Yellowhead Community Regional Center as best we can. Because these people are taking their own time out. They don't get paid for this. The operations managers, for the most part, and the maintenance staff are the only ones that get paid to be there. All these people around the board are volunteers, taking time out of their lives to keep the doors open for you and for me. And, well, to a lesser degree, Casper. When's the last time you were in there, Casper?
Probably the last time I covered a hockey game when you were away. Yeah. Actually, no. Last time I was in there, probably when I went to vote. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. There you go. So, and I was in there an hour ago. So that tells you. So it's just between you and me then, all right? Casper can give a rat's behind about it. Casper's allowed to not care. But again, for these people that are putting that time and effort in, I got to commend them all for being around that table like that. And especially, I'll give an individual shout out, Wayne Jacobson, who is stepping down from his 3-year tenure as the Yellowhead Center board president. He has served his term. He has served his time. He is very appreciative of the time he was able to commit to this, and he is very optimistic about the future of the facility. And as well optimistic, Marla Steen, who is stepping in. She has been on the board for the last 2 years. She has served as the vice president for the last year, and she is taking that next rung up. She will be serving as the president for the Yellowhead for the next 3 years. So I had a chance to talk with both Wayne and Marla in the news story, talk about what their expectations are, their thoughts on the year that was, and their hopes for the future. They were able to share some interesting sort of ideas and concepts with me on that. That's why it's important you pick up a copy of this week's edition of the Banner Press and learn a little bit about it yourself. This is a very important facility. All I got to do is go, like I said, an hour ago, I went down to the facility for the Slasher Showdown high school hockey tournament. It was full, a bunch of parents, a bunch of kids, everybody wandering about, a game on the ice. In the intermission, the second intermission, you know what I did? I wandered over the Yellowhead Hall and I got my flu shot because they had the flu clinic on at the exact same time. So I was able to go over there and get that looked after. It is an important pinnacle, a centerpiece for a community. So hopefully you're able to support it. And hopefully you'll take a little bit of time and learn a little bit about it in the year that was. We only got a few minutes left, so let's shift gears. I want to get into this one here, Casper, while we do have time. You had a picture in a recent edition of the Neepawa Banner Press. You're our archivist, and you were able to come across this picture of an interesting family from the region, but we didn't know much about it. But we do today, don't we?
We sure do, and that's all thanks, of course, to the individual that helped us out, Janet O'Donnell. As Owen mentioned, we had this photo in the Neepawa Banner and Press here, but there wasn't any information with it, really. It was just marked, I think, with Bernie in like 1941 or something. We originally featured it in a paper recently on October 17th. And put out a little shout out for help there saying, hey, if you have any info, bring it to us. And oh boy, did Janet O'Donnell do that. There was a photo album that she shared with me there, and as well a history book that had all the history I could want on this couple, and of course the extended family as well. So if you're not familiar, this is the photo. Of course, you're going to have to pick up a hard copy.
Here, actually, let me help you out with something real quick, indeed. Casper.
Okay.
All right, flip to mine here, just very quickly. There you go.
Oh, yeah, there we go. That works.
Go.
So that's the couple that we had featured in the October 17th paper, and at the time, we didn't know who they were. Of course, they've been identified now. That is Annie and Charles Hunt of the Bernie community. And they were photographed in 1941, of course. And so we have a bunch of history on them. Charles is originally from England, and I believe it was Annie was actually originally from England as well. They met in London, and sort of on their own timelines, they ended up going to Canada and the United States, and then later both being in Bernie to get married and all that. And they have a lot of history in the community of Bernie. Both themselves and their extended family have lots of connections to Bernie and the surrounding area. So I hope you give a good look at page 14 and a little bit of 15 there and give that a read. It's quite extensive, and at least I personally always enjoy learning a bit of history there. And this is our rural history, so that's pretty awesome to have.
It was very interesting as well to sort of see the little mystery and background behind it to be discovered. And it was an intriguing story as well. As you said, it was sort of, it didn't just from point A to point B. There was all this other little stuff going around it. So I hope you take a few minutes and you learn a little bit about this, because I think it's truly fascinating, as Casper said. We only got a few minutes left here. There's so much more we could have talked about with you. There's so much more we could have delved deep into. But that's why it's always important to pick up a copy of the paper. We didn't even touch Josh Jackson's beef district meeting he went and covered. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the season openers for the Neepawa Tigers hockey team or for the Neepawa Farmers Senior A team. We didn't even get a chance to go down deep and discuss the Neepawa Titans derby that they did. Very successful event. Ken Waddell has that story for you. But that's why it's always important to pick up a copy of the Neepawa Banner and Press. You can find it in 30 different locations throughout Western Manitoba. Physical copies at your door, as it were. And if you're not able to, if you're not in one of those communities, you can always find it online at neepawabanner.com. Because we're not here unless you're here. And that's why we thank you for your support. And if you have any story ideas or suggestions for us, we always appreciate that as well. You can always give us a call at 476-3401 or over at news at neepawabanner.com. So that pretty much, I think, wraps it up there. Any parting words for all our Halloween revelers there, Casper?
Well, have a very happy Halloween and enjoy some spooky festivities as well.
That's right, and we appreciate you each and every week coming out and supporting us here on NAC TV and with the Neepawa Banner and Press. So thank you as always, and we hope to see you again next week.